What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of video games, we're going to be checking out Icarus. This is not my first impressions of the game, but since it's been shaking things up and had about 50,000, 60,000 players on release day, I figured it would probably be a good idea to do a video because I've put about 4 or 5 hours into the game, and I do have some thoughts about it. If you don't know about Icarus, this is a survival game, actually a fairly boilerplate sci-fi survival game on a terraformed world gone wrong that's being put out by Dean Hall, the guy that was involved with DayZ Mod and also DayZ Standalone. So anyways, as we dive on into today's video, I am going to do my best at the end of the video to give you some of my thoughts about what the game is doing right and what I think the game is doing wrong. But on the way there, if you wanted to check the game out, I'll have a link for you down below in the description so that you can add it to your wish list or otherwise pass on it if you feel like it's not the sort of thing that you are into. Down in the description, you can also find a link to my Discord, which is the central hub for my entire community. On top of that, you'll also find a link to my Twitch stream where I have been playing this game live, and you're more than welcome to join me. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive straight on in. The game is divided up into 2 separate gameplay modes. There's an online mode and there is an offline mode. The nice thing about the offline mode is that when you play solo, there's an extra skill tree that's called the solo skill tree that basically takes all the best stuff from all the other skill trees as you're leveling up, and it basically amplifies them so that you become kind of a super character, which you sort of need to be in order to survive the game in solo mode. I think that was a really solid little jaunt of foresight right there in order to make kind of the offline and single-player gameplay a little bit better. That does tend to be how I enjoy my games a little bit more. I'm not huge on, like, the full loop PvP and stuff like that. So anyways, let's dive on into offline, and I'll show you what the character creator looks like. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a character. I have a level 8 character already. That's after about 5 hours of playing, 4.5 hours of playing in there somewhere. I'm on the second mission. This game does have kind of an interesting structure to it. So like most survival games like Conan Exiles, what happens is you spawn in at the same spot or like random spots, and you go in, you chop down trees, you build up a fortress, you do various activities, you survive. This game is structured a little bit differently, and so ultimately the game has one map. But what happens is there's about 30 missions, and they're kind of in sort of this branching tree, and you can take them in any order that you want. And the missions are everything from like killing a certain monster to placing scanners in locations. And the interesting thing about it is that your character levels up during these missions, and when you come back and you return to basically extraction, you maintain all of the skills and things that you had previously, and based on performance, you unlock new stuff that you can take into the next mission. But any buildings that you built down on the planet, or any modifications that you made to the planet itself, despawn in between missions. It's a very, very strange mechanic, and I'm not exactly sure if I'm a fan of it or if I dislike it as of right now. I'm still sort of making my mind up about that because on a certain level, building takes a long time in this game, and it can take you a while to get set up. And so anyways, losing all your buildings and your base and everything else in between missions, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, I do think that like the hard reset of repeatedly going back into like this massive open world map in order to do missions is a compelling idea. I think there's probably like an opportunity for like a structural change right there in order to make it work a little bit better. Let's go ahead and make our character. There's a selection of about 6 faces right now that it looks like you can pick in between. There's a number of scars. I'll probably go ahead. Let's have like a half Bernie Boy face. There we go. We're going to have like putty face. Perfect. We can have some facial hair, but spoiler alert, there's only 2 of them, and it's only like a 5 o'clock shadow. I don't know if beards are not conducive to space travel. I would guess, you know, particulate matter, filtration systems, like those 2 things seem to stand at odds with one another. So my guess is you're not allowed to have a beard in the space program because those beard hairs are going to come out and they're going to get places that they're not supposed to go. Like we have this little diaper hat on right here, like this crazy cool gamer headset. This is holding our hair in on top of our head just in case we start shedding out of stress or whatever. We can't have face tattoos because everybody knows that nothing says I'm an aeronaut like a face tattoo. That absolutely in no circumstances disqualifies you from NASA recruitment. We can go with clothing decals over here. Yeah, let's put little wings on my forehead. That sounds good. And then you can change up your gamer headset if you want to. Let's see here. What should our character's name be? I'm going to name him Whoop-a-Woof. There we go, because you're going to fight a lot of wolves in this game. We'll talk about that a little bit later, and in fact, that is one of my complaints about the game. But for right now, we'll confirm the character, and we'll get on into the game proper. We need to go to a new prospecting claim, and then we need to... Oh, actually, I guess all of the missions that you have ever done are unlocked on all characters. I actually didn't expect that. I thought this was going to be a hard reset to my progression. So anyways, my other character is in, like, the back 9 of this mission right here. Like, he's got, like, one objective left to go, and it's taken me about 4 hours to get it done. It's been a bit of a process. Let's go ahead and, like, yeah, let's just go to this mission since it's a little bit more interesting.
Welcome back. Lagos unit runs Icarus for the UDA, but most of this planet's still a blank on the map. The unit wants new drop zones, which means getting terrain scans, and they'll pay for the privilege. Just set up a radar at 3 locations and come back alive. You up for it?
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get her done then. We can't bring anything with us for right now because this character is not leveled up. That money that you earn in between, use that for kind of like progression upgrades so that as you get further on into the game, your character will spawn in and drop pod onto the planet with more and more supplementary utilities like toolkits and specialized suits and things of that nature. I'm going to go ahead and confirm my loadout. We'll put that on Private, and down we go to the planet's surface to kill ourselves some Xenos and get into trouble. All right, down we go. We are in our rocket pod, and we are breaking Atmo right now. Apparently, we're not going to have any sound for this little portion. The sound, there we go. There, it was just a little bit delayed. Don't worry about it. Atmospheric landings kind of have, like, interesting side effects, and one of them is no sound happening. As you can see, the mountains are coming up right there through our little viewport window. We've got some trees. Let's hop on out of the pod. We are arrived. Okay,
Icarus ain't always gonna be so empty. The UDA wants exotics, and the Lagos unit's under pressure to scale operations up. Which means they need terrain data, and a heap of it, fast. So grab the radar from the supply crate. The unit wants scans from 3 locations on your map. You'll be heading into uncharted territory, but that's exactly why we need the data. Think you can handle it? Well, either way, it's too late now. Good luck.
Okay, so we've landed alongside a little lake over here. We need to get some tools in order. Like, structurally, once you're actually in the game proper and you're working on the missions, this is a bog standard survival game. You're going to be picking up rocks, you're going to be picking up sticks, and you're going to make yourself some cutting tools so that you can get tasks done. I'm not exactly sure what happened bureaucratically to end up with us sending aeronautics experts that have been trained their entire lives for this down to planetfall without any of the equipment that they require in order to survive. But frankly, I think we're kind of past the point of questioning right now. We're on a completely different planet. There's a couple meters that we need to babysit down in the bottom left-hand corner. You're going to see our health with the plus sign. You're going to see our meter with the cold and the heat over there. There's going to be various weather, various weather patterns that are going to happen that are going to kind of like mess up our day and make things more or less difficult for us. We've got some oxite right there. That's for filling up the oxygen meter that you see with the O2 on it. And then, of course, you're going to have food and water, which is that normal survival stuff. There are animals on this planet. Apparently, we were trying to terraform it or something, and something went wrong. We have to wear a spacesuit helmet. We can't breathe down here, but apparently the bears and the deer and the wolves and, you know, the dicks and the snakes and all those animals can. I don't know. The specifics of it elude me. For right now, let's jump on into our menu because we need to get some crafting done. At the beginning of the game, we really only start out with a stone pickaxe and a stone axe for our perusal. I'll go ahead and whip up a couple of those right there so that we can get some tasks done. In the beginning of the game, you really just kind of want to focus on leveling. It's in the top left-hand corner. Every activity you participate in is going to glean you XP to a greater or lesser extent, and as you level up, you're going to get points that you can put into your tech tree, which allow you to go through 4 tiers of advancement. As of right now, we are on tier 1. For whatever reason, they split up all the building. I don't think they needed to do this. You have to buy each piece of the building individually with your points, which means that it's going to take you multiple level ups to get all the building materials. I kind of wish they would just condense it all into one node at the end, because there's so many other things to acquire that it feels like you spend a lot of points trying to get the buildings. Like, what I would have had is just wood technology and thatch technology, and you click on each of those and you get all the building parts, basically. It seems like one of those things that's just meant to extend out the gameplay. We have 4 trees over here. These are the ones, these 3 right here for if you're playing multiplayer. And then there's a special solo tree when you play offline, which takes all the best stuff from those trees and basically puts it in here in a much shorter tree that's much faster to get after, so that the solo experience is both more powerful. So a solo character is like orders of magnitude more powerful than a online character. And so anyways, let's get to work knocking some rocks and building some socks. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mine up like 30 or 40 stone, and then I'm going to get like 40 or 50 wood. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a cut right there. You guys don't need to see all the nitty-gritty of the gathering experience, but we'll try to decide what our next goal is going to be once we get there. Okay, so I'm almost done processing this tree over here. One of the things I think they did a really good job with is actually the sound design of the game. Everything from the atmospheric effects to like the 2001 Space Odyssey sort of synthwave soundtrack, I think is done very, very well. The chopping sound has lots of impact, and it has like momentum to it and like velocity. I think that they did a really, really good job with the sound design of the game. For right now, I think what we need to do as one of our first orders of business is we need to track down some oxide mines. Picking up random oxide off the ground is perfectly fine and capable, but these blue rocks over here are like the really, really good stuff that we're going to be looking for. So let's get after that first. We've got a deer right there. He doesn't seem to be like aware of us or care about the fact that we exist. Let's go ahead and grab this oxide though. There we go. I also very much like the animation work of the game, actually. I think they did a really good job with that as well. I think it looks and feels pretty great. There's some pretty sterling vistas in this game, and obviously after the compression of YouTube, when they go ahead and like minimize the bitrate on this video, it's not going to look quite as sexy. But I do think that the game is quite a looker if you can get it running. My recommendation to you after having played the game for 4 or 5 hours is definitely don't play the game on the DirectX 12 branch. The DirectX 12 branch seems to have very, very considerable issues with frame rates and performance. If you're gonna play the game, I recommend you play on the DirectX 11 branch. I'm gonna guess that it's probably nothing to do with the game really. So here's the thing. I've noticed that a lot of games seem to have serious issues with their DirectX branch 12. And so I figure that DirectX 12 is one of those things that's just kind of hit or miss right now. It hasn't like fully been developed up to the level that it needs to be in order to be in the mainstream just yet. And so anyways, that's my advice, having played the game, is that you should probably play on the DirectX 11 branch if you want like a smoother, better experience. The other thing to keep in mind when you're playing this game is that because it's a level-based, like, survival RPG, it is entirely possible for you to basically approach missions too quickly and get swept off the map. This game has a very, very spiky and all-over-the-place difficulty curve, and that's going to mean that you're going to spend a lot of time sort of, like, leveling up, not quite sure of what's going to happen next. The first mission is pretty much a pushover. The second mission is not actually that hard, but there are very, very spiky moments in the difficulty that seem weirdly out of alignment with the rest of the challenge. We do have talent points that we can spend for right now. I'm going to go ahead and put it into stamina, just because being able to sprint and run and fight for a little bit longer is going to be a really good idea. I would recommend that you specialize in the solo tree first when you're playing through the game. This game does have a level cap, and this tree cannot be respec'd, which I think is actually kind of a mistake. I think they should definitely add in a technology that every character has access to. They can make it costly if they want, but something that allows you to effectively wipe your talent tree and reselect your choices, I think, is like a very boilerplate thing that every game with a specialized talent tree should have. It's one of those things that it being missing is actually kind of an odd occurrence. All right, so with what we have right now, we need to unlock some stuff from our tech tree. We're starting from the left, and now we here. I'm going to suggest that we get spears. Actually, can I get arrows? Let's get bows and arrows. The spear is cool and everything, don't get me wrong, but the bow and arrow, I think, are going to be a little bit better for right now. Let's mash out these new tools that we've got available to us. The knife is going to allow us to fight, and it's going to allow us to skin animals. We've got a bow over here, and then I don't know how many arrows we can make, but make them all, baby. Make every single arrow. I want to have lots and lots of ammo. Where we're going, there's going to be a number of threats. We can make a wood pile. That's basically, you can break this to get 100 wood, just in case you don't want to carry it around with you. I do have, like, a lot of wood on me right now. I'm going to go ahead and eat all those berries real fast. If you're wondering what these are for, you can take these oxites and you can drag them into your oxygen slot. You can also just eat rocks if you want to. You can eat the rocks right now to get your oxygen back up, and then the stuff that you put inside your oxygen suit slot will just slowly and gradually be used in order to keep your meter topped off. Okay, so now that we have the bow, I think it's time for us to get a couple of animals. We need to start hunting out here. I don't care if we get rabbits. I don't care if we get deer. I don't really care what we kill whatsoever, but we need to kill something, and we need to do it in sneaky fashion. So there is kind of like a large, like, wildebeest thing over here. Ooh, right in the head. Not so bad. It does use like a Fallout 4 styled like slow motion camera when you make like a really, really good shot. I'll be honest with you, I didn't plan for that shot to be as good as it was. Normally I miss like 400 times, and I'm actually fairly impressed that I hit that. Let's go ahead and gut this guy right here. All right. So we've got ourselves some leather, some bones, some raw meat, and we got our arrow back. On top of that, a little thing that some people don't know about is after you kill something, you can keep hitting its corpse right there in order to get the bones and break up the skeleton, which I do recommend that you do because the next tier after stone is bone, and you're going to need a lot of bones in order to get through there. Before we attempt the mission, I think I do recommend that we have all bone gear. It would be the smart way to move forward. In our tech tree over here, I think it's a good idea if we go after some medical supplies as well. I think I'm going to get a, let's see. Let's get the bandage so that if we bleed, we can fix it. And then we'll get the chest armor and we'll get the leg armor. We're going to go ahead and make those right now. So there's our chest armor. It's going to automatically equip. You can see it on our character right there. It does show up. We've got to cover our cutting-edge spacesuit with wicker. It's the only way for us to survive. It's the only way. I'm going to gather up enough for some pantalones right now. Or like some killer chaps, or whatever the stylistic choice is here in space. But I think I've got enough. What does it take to make the pants? We need like 120. That's actually a lot of fiber. But hey, look at us right now. We're looking a little bit better, and we're slightly better defended from the threats of the world. Now this lake down here, we can just straight up drink out of it. That ShamWow is aware of us. Wow, he's moving. That little dude is zooming, man. He's got some wheels on him. Okay, I'm going to drink some water. There is a chance anytime you eat a food uncooked or drink water that isn't, like, boiled, that you're going to get, like, various diseases, and you're going to need certain herbs in order to, like, fix that. So just keep that in mind. I don't actually know if I've gotten sick from drinking water out of the lake just yet, but I know that I've gotten, like, long-term sick from eating food that I haven't cooked. So, like, you find, like, a watermelon laying on the ground and you, like, eat it. There's a ShamWow over here, dude. Let's go get him. Let's go get him. Where's he at? He's still over here, or did he bail? He was pretty speedy last time, so I think he's pretty Johnny on the spot about knowing where we're at. There's a wolf over here. Wolves are really, really good for furs, and we're going to need a lot of furs if we want this whole thing to work out. A note on the wolves. The wolves spawn too much. There's way too much hostile wildlife. I know they're trying to make the game, like, difficult, but what I've noticed over the last 4 or 5 hours of playing is that wolves seem to spawn just sort of, like, randomly. Like, very, very near in proximity to you when you're trying to do, like, various activities. And so, anyways, they can be a little bit of an irritant. There we go. We got him. Oh, okay, he's not dead. He's still alive. I thought he was dead. He definitely was not dead. Let's go ahead and skin the wolf real fast. You can't pick up these critters and carry them around with you. With small kind of vermin game, you can put them on your belt. Just be aware that dead bodies in this game emit a smell. And so predators are going to smell the blood, and they're going to smell the meat, and they're going to smell the corpse, and they're going to come looking for you, which only makes the aforementioned wolf spawning issue altogether more serious. There are way, way too many wolves, and the way that they just spawn way too close to the player. And so, like, anytime you get yourself into a big fight with, like, a bear or something that takes a while to kill, like, the wolves will start spawning around you, and you'll end up fighting, like, a bear and 3 wolves, which, for whatever reason, like, aid each other in combat. It is one of those little immersion-breaking, like, frustrating things that's happened to me once or twice, where, like, I have a fight well under control, but then a bunch of wolves spawn basically, like, right on top of me, and I end up losing because I just can't manage the situation under those pressures. We need to hunt a little bit more. We've got another talent point we can spend. I'm going to keep maxing out my stamina, because having a big stamina meter is good stuff in this game. It means that you can run away. So over here's the container with our scanning equipment that the game expects us to have in order to complete our mission. We can grab that right now. If you're looking at the top of the screen and you're like, man, you have 6 days to complete the mission. Yes, you have 6 literal one-for-one time-scale days to complete this mission, so there's no reason to rush. This is very much a game that expects you to level up and expects you to just kind of get lost in it and go on hunting trips and not really like hyper-focus on the mission itself. That's going to bug some people, but, you know, I'm okay with it because I'm the sort of person that spent like weeks working on my Conan Exiles Fortress with the single-player mod and just getting everything just right and just perfect. They are aware of us. Okay, so there's no point sneaking. I'm going to grab berries wherever I see them just for the quick top-up on, like, you know, calories and stuff like that, just in case we end up needing it. I can't get over this rock right here. Let me get over you. All I want to do is climb you. All I want to do is climb a rock. All right, a little bit more berries right there. Is that guy stuck in the lake? Oh, we hit him. I actually didn't expect to hit that one either. I guess I got to work on my self-confidence. The ShamWow is running for it. We'll follow him. I can't guarantee that we're going to get a chance to squeeze off another... Ooh. Missed. I might be getting a little bit overly ambitious right here. They're like, my man is trying to hunt 2 animals at one time. And I'll be like, yeah, well, I like to live life on the edge, brother. I am who I am. All right, so there's our ShamWow right there. Ooh, right in the snoot. Got him. Okay, let's go get our dinner. Okay, 170 XP for that. Little bit of fur, little bit of leather. I like to see it. I would suggest we consume a stack of berries right now. It looks like... Oh, we've got a weather system coming. That's not great. Okay, so we need to find shelter. Now, the number one way that I've found to kind of get yourself out of a tricksy situation before you've unlocked any of the utilities that allow you to get out of the weather patterns is just to mine into a big rock, dude. Like, this works for me, like, every single time. And so what I like to do is you just kind of, like, knock these over, and you make, like, a little just kind of deformation inside the rock, and then you just go inside it until the storm is over, and that's pretty much it. There you go. So I'm inside my little improvised rock hole right now. This is the number one way in the early game before you've unlocked all the buildings and everything to survive. Just knock a hole in a rock and then just sit in it for about 10 minutes. I'm not exactly sure why we're not allowed to be out in the rain, because if you look at the Celsius temperature right now, you like double that, like plus 32. Like, it's not actually that unpleasant outside, but for whatever reason, we take environmental scuffing if we're out in this stuff right now. I think the storm is just about let up. Oh, I'm stuck. I've been betrayed by the very rock that I created. Feels bad. Let me mine my way out of here and maybe escape from this. There we go. I've escaped from the rock which once imprisoned me. My lithic sarcophagus has been laid to rest. We still need to hunt. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to, is I find that hunting and chopping trees are the 2 best ways to get XP. But now that we have our scanner, it is feasible that we could go for, like, the first objective, which, if I remember correctly, is, like, way the hell over there. Yeah, it is. It's pretty far out that way, and honestly, this mountain range runs down and around, so you kind of got to loop it a little bit if you want to get it done. There is a spot right up here that we could go to, but they kind of spawn a bunch of bears on you when you put the scanner down, and that makes me, like, somewhat nervous about tangoing with them. Like, the bears are going to be tough until we have, like, bone weaponry and a little bit better of equipment. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wander around a little bit and see what sort of trouble I can get myself into. Another level up under our belt. I've just kind of been roaming the land like a mountain man, just kind of killing things, skinning them, putting damage on them. Gotten a couple wolves, couple of rabbits, another level up under our belt. So I feel like it's, what is that guy right there? What is that? Can I kill it? What is that? Hold on, I saw an eyeball over here. Ah, he saw me too late. Unfortunately, the contextual thing pops up while you have your bow drawn, which is one of those small things that definitely needs to change. I had a shot on his head, but I lost sight of his head because the bush in front of me lit up, and it gave me the little hand icon instead of my targeting reticle. And so anyways, while the bow is drawn, it definitely should not ever remove the reticle for, like, contextual looting, effectively. If you're just holding the bow like this, absolutely, but I had an arrow knocked and everything right there. That's a little bit of a frustration. How are we doing on Oxite right now? Ah, we're still solid. Inside of our tech tree, we need to hit level 5 as soon as possible so that we can get the suture kit. A serious wound in this game can actually really, really curtail your progress. I think we need 2 more levels until we can get to wood building. We can get some basic thatch stuff right now, but I don't know how thatch performs versus the wood. We could probably go with the basics. I mean, I feel like a campfire is a pretty solid choice. A wooden torch is probably a decent choice as well because it's going to be getting dark pretty soon. We can probably get a new helmet as well. I'm going to go ahead and work on my movement speed so that I'm faster and harder to catch. And then let's go ahead and we'll make that helmet. I don't actually have the stuff to make the helmet, so this is a good opportunity for us to just annihilate some bushes for some lanyard material. There we go. Get another wolf in the process. Wolf hunting, you get like 2,000 XP for a wolf, so you definitely want to kill wolves whenever you see them. You also get 800 XP just for butchering the wolf. So altogether, you're looking at like 2,500 XP per wolf, which is just like fantastically high. Like, you know, the wolves spawn way too much at certain points, and they're all over you. But that has also been a really good opportunity for me to get tons and tons of basically free level ups fighting the endless hordes of wolves that are attacking my base. And so, like, it's a bit of a positive and it's a bit of a negative as well. And continue gathering up some of these guys. I'm going to guess we need at least, like, 300 fibers to get another thing done. Oh, I didn't get the gloves. Okay, we just got the helmet, so I don't need that many fibers. It's also a good idea for us to just mash out some... There we go. We'll mash out a couple of bandages right now. And that will guarantee that if we end up with anything serious like a bleed, we'll be able to fix it like right this second. We've got our helmet on. As you can see, we've just wrapped it around. Now we're looking like some kind of Dune character. We're going to start talking about Shai Hulud and the desert and doing the sand walk and like all that kind of stuff. I think now that it's getting dark, it's probably a good idea to head back to the pod, just so we're in familiar environs while we wait out the night. But yeah, this is pretty much Icarus right here. There's a lot of things that I like about this game, and the things that are wrong with it, I think, are 100% fixable via just the application of more elbow grease and polish. The state of modern gaming, what it is... Well, I thought I'd get him right there, but I guess not. Lost sight of him. I'm going to try and get him, but I can't guarantee it's going to go that way. Like, I got to wait for him to, like, bed down or turn around. Oh, apparently I hit him with the headshot through a bush. All right, getting pretty good at this stuff. Okay, where's my deer at? Where are you, my deer? Where are you? I don't actually know exactly where I killed him at. And, like, the contrast is kind of murky over here. There he is. I knew I'd find him eventually. I just want the XP, I'll be honest with you. I don't even care about the rest of it. The 300 XP for killing that guy, though? Oh, my knife is broken. This game does have item durability. You guys know how I feel about that, but I have a caveat to that situation. Everything is easily repairable in this game. You, like, make 2 clicks and it's repaired. And so I'm willing to forgive item durability in that case. Like, it's one of those things. So the stuff that I've seen with the game thus far. Progression. As you go in between the missions, I think that your buildings should stay. I don't know if that's ever going to be a change that will actually be implemented just due to the way that the game is made in the Unreal Engine. But I do think that your buildings should stay in between missions. Aside from that, I also think that the fog of war should stay cleared every time you come into a mission. When I was looking at it, it looked to me, when I was playing between the missions, like your fog of war fills back in, even though it's the same map every single time. And so that's one of those progressive things that I think needs to be adjusted as well. I haven't had any performance issues, and I haven't had any crashes or problems with the game. I did have one situation where my character's head would not spawn in, but like restarting the game real fast fixed it. One of the big issues with the game, actually one of the huge annoyances, this game has like a 4-minute intro video at the beginning of it that's unskippable. If I was the devs, that would be one of the first things that I would fix. Just my opinion. You shouldn't make the player, like the player wants to play the game, it's on a solid state drive, click it, you're in the game, you can start playing like right now. Forcing the player to sit through a long animation and video at the beginning of the game over and over and over again ad nauseum, not a good decision. I don't know who made that managerial call, but that was 100% the wrong call. Other than that, the spiky difficulty, I think, is going to be a big turnoff to solo players, people that want to play by themselves. Even in like a 2-3 person group setting, some of the surprises they spring on you in this game as you're working on the objectives and the missions can be very, very challenging to nearly impossible to accomplish depending on your tech level. And so anyways, like you'll get the feeling from the first step of the objective that you're fine because you breezed through it and like you fought like a thing and you killed it with no problem. But then like the second step of the quest will just instantaneously murder you with a challenge that you can't seem to just get the hang of. And when you die in this game, you got to make a corpse run like old school EverQuest. You drop all your stuff on the ground and you got to go back out. One adjustment I think that they should make for solo play is that you should not have to do the corpse run. Doing the corpse run is perfectly fine when you've got the support system of like a group, like 3 or 4 people. But for solo play, if they really wanted to, they could put something in the talent tree, like somewhere near the top right here where it's just like, keep your gear when dying, basically. You do get an XP penalty when you die. That's an old school mechanic that I think is going to swing depending on what generation of gaming you're from. I don't mind it altogether that much. You don't lose levels from what I've seen so far. I've died 2 or 3 times. It just takes you back down to the bottom of your level, and you've got to restart it, basically. And so, like, I could see that being a big problem when you're like level 20 or 25 and it takes a long time to level. But at the levels that I've been playing at, it hasn't been that big of a deal restarting a level when I die. But that in combination with the spiky difficulty, I think is going to frustrate some people. Now, this is the part where I'm going to go ahead and do some post-commentary, because I played for about 4 hours prior to recording this and about 4 hours after, and a few things became apparent. Like, first and foremost is that there are bugs you're going to run into. At the time of this recording, I hadn't quite hit them yet, but in my second big play session, I had a major game-breaking problem, which forced me to restart my whole campaign, which is definitely not acceptable. The developers acknowledged that bug on the Steam forums and said they'll fix it within 24 hours, but it was still a setback that I had to go through. With regards to the presentation, the game has great graphics and fantastic sound design. There's no denying that it might have some of the better fidelity on that end that we've ever seen from a survival game. But that said, there's warts on this title. For all the visual and audio flair, the single-player campaign is prone to really wild spikes of difficulty, such to the point that I think the whole single-player branch is actually going to need to be, like, refactored in order to get everything where it needs to go before it's actually completable. You don't get enough skill points in single-player to get all the talents and crafting blueprints due to the level cap, so you're always going to have like some holes in your overall strategy, and then to top that off, you can't respec your character temporarily to fill in those holes when a mission necessitates you have certain things. And so anyways, the game is full of long walks, and there aren't really a lot of points of interest, although from the DayZ developers that doesn't really come as a surprise to me. But I didn't really mind so much because the planet is really good looking and beautiful. Building works really, really well once you master some of the weird quirks of the physics engine, and I found the hunting and gathering to actually be really, really fun. In general, the game has a very solid foundation, and I think it's capable of becoming a fantastic survival game, but there is a great deal of testing and polish that are going to need to be done, especially in the single-player branch, before that idea can be realized. The developers have been patching and collecting feedback, but whether or not you want to jump in on the game in the current state is going to rely heavily on your tolerance for wildly swinging difficulty, infrequent but sometimes major bugs, really messed up DirectX 12 branch, and some sometimes strange design decisions. So anyways, that's my thoughts as of right now. This is Icarus. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. I'll be back tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet, but up until then, It's been a pleasure. Thank you for hanging out with me for a little while, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.